What's up, bro? It's your boy George Brown Brooks. You follow me on Facebook, subscribe to YouTube channel so we can chop it up. Or follow me on TikTok so we can chop it up. But real quick, I just want to say this and get this off my chest. Um, I made a video. I originally made a video like this before on my other platform, my other YouTube pages. I originally was making videos about sports and stuff like that. People was liking my a lot of my sports channels and stuff like that. But I lost my fucking phone. I lost the password to that account, so I didn't even remember it and shit. So I lost all my original subscribers and stuff like that. But my original account was about sports, boxing and stuff like that. I just was talking about sports and stuff like that. But then I talked about relationships and other political issues. And one of the issues I wanted to talk about is, and I've been hearing this as a little boy, as a little kid. I never understood when this type of talking point that come from people from the immigrant community, as to they saying that they work harder than us. And that's actually a white supremacist talking point, because the white supremacists have projected this ideology to them that the black people in America are lazy and they just want handouts and they just complaining. This is why people who come from immigrant communities, they come here to America, they believe that. They believe that. And I never understood, like, no disrespect to the immigrant community or anything like that, but how can people come to another country, reap the benefits of what the people there created? We created the equal opportunities for immigrants to come here and prosper. That's something that we did. The 14th Amendment was something that benefited immigrants, even though it was for black people. The civil rights movement benefited other groups in America. So people come here and they tell us that we don't work hard. But in a lot of these countries that they come from are just slums. Mexico is not popping. No disrespect to my Mexican brothers and sisters, but it's not popping in Mexico. It's just not. It's not popping in India. These people always tell us Chinese people work hard. All these other group of people that they're talking about, when you look at the country of the origins that they migrated from, is a slum. It's a shithole. So if they work so hard, why aren't they working hard where they came from? They have to come to America to work hard. How are you going to come here and tell us we're lazy, we don't work hard, and you left your homeland where you originally was from to come to America and you benefited off the equal opportunities that the people that you're calling lazy from? How? I believe this wholeheartedly. You can't migrate somewhere and talk shit on the people there. Black people, we have respect. We don't go to other people's countries, tell them this and that, what they should and shouldn't get, and talk down on these people. A lot of these immigrants that come to America, they have disdain for black Americans. And that's what people like Myron Gaines, a lot of these, because we see a lot of the anti-black hatred that's from the immigrant community. We already been dealing with it from the white community, but it's almost as like a lot of these guys, like Myron Gaines and stuff like that, these people are white supremacists and black skin. You have black people who are white supremacists and black skin. And because we have people that think like that, people talk about there's no black, I'm not gonna say there's no such thing as a black conservative, but black conservatives, they're just minions, and they just want to be accepted by white society. So they throw their own under the bus. They regurgitate white supremacist talking points. Black people don't work hard and stuff like that. But the thing is, with other groups of people, why are people comparing immigrants to black Americans? It's really a false equivalence, because they didn't go through the same situations that black people went through. Immigrants that come to America, you come to America, bro, that's a handout. That's a handout, bro. That's a handout that we created. That's a handout. That is a benefit. That's a benefit. All this, I don't understand why people, how are you telling us that you work hard? These countries that these people come from are not popping economically. They're not. We've been to these countries. We go to these countries that these people originated from, and they not trying to go back there. They not fixing up home or anything like that in Mexico. The reason why Mexico is in shambles is because the people there, people that come here, benefit off the 14th Amendment. They don't fix home. They don't fix up back home. They don't fix it up. They come here in our business. That's why all the people there at the border down there like that, because they worry about us. They in our business instead of fixing up home. That's why a lot of these countries that they come from are in shambles, even in Africa, because they come here and worry about us. We live rent-free in these people's heads. It's a sense of jealousy that they have because they know that they carry this anti-black hatred towards black people out of jealousy, because they know that black people, the people that they come here that they don't like, they're coming here they coming here to fix their poverty off our expense. You're moving into our neighborhoods. You are allowed to prosper in America. You are allowed to. You are allowed to, because they didn't have, most immigrants that came to America a lot of them came during the 1960s. Before that, there was a very few handful of immigrants, especially black immigrants. The Civil Rights Law opened the door for immigration. And these people benefit from that law. And how can they should be faking us. Like, you see what I'm saying? People, immigrants, you guys got it twisted. You don't work harder than black Americans at all. And people say see, the thing is, in a lot of these other countries as well, in Africa, African people, no offense, bro, but they sold niggas into slavery, collaborating with the white supremacists. They still have that cutthroat gutter mentality. Like, they don't stand up for anything. That's why a lot of these African countries just got their independence just 50, 60 years ago. And it wasn't even like through warfare. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't like it was through warfare. A lot of sorry, African brothers and sisters, but they have been collaborating with the white supremacists for years. They come here with that mindset. They look at us as an other tribe, as an other. We are different from them. They don't fight back at home. That's why people like Myron Gaines and stuff like that, they have this white ass kissing mentality. Because we see a lot of the white ass kissers from immigrant brothers and sisters that say shit like black people are always acting like victims. But the victim mentality is what brought you to America. If we didn't have a victim mentality, a lot of these people would be back home in their countries in shambles. So thank God Myron Gaines, that black people, whatever the fuck his name is, from Fresh and Fit, thank God black people had a victim mentality, because the victim mentality created equal opportunities that you come here and enjoy. Thank God we have a so-called victim mentality. Of course, black people have a victim mentality because black people have been victims of systematic racism that he said doesn't exist. If systematic racism doesn't exist, it went on, it was prevalent in this country for 500 years. What made it stop? Why did it stop? All of a sudden, it just stopped. Just 60 years ago, the right to vote became a thing. Well, actually, people don't know. Black people actually had the right to vote. They just wasn't letting us. Back in the 60s, just 60 years ago, this country have had an integrated society. Just 60 years ago. We're not talking about thousands of years ago. Myron Gaines, if these people ever come across this video, you people don't think our grandparents is still alive. Not mine personally, but a lot of our grandparents that lived during the 60s, that faced Jim Crow, that faced segregation, they are still alive. They are still living. That went through that. A lot of these immigrants, they don't understand. Black people are the only people that have been economically sabotaged. Immigrants that come to America, they're not economically sabotaged. They never burnt down Chinatown. They never burnt down Little Italy. Successful black economic bases that black people created: Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, Wellington. And this is after slavery. Black people created economic bases for ourselves but the white supremacists came and burnt it down. They didn't give nobody nothing for it. And even after slavery, black people still subjugated to the worst mistreatment that you could think of. We the only people, because like I said, a lot of these peasants and stuff like that, they don't want to fight back. They tell us that they don't want to fight back. They not into fighting back. They into just laying down and just dealing with it. Just laying down and just dealing with systematic racism, because they dealt with it in their countries. They didn't get the independence from how civil rights happened, because we took it to the streets. We made civil rights happen. We was fighting in the streets. We was the ones getting dogs sicked on us and having water hoses used on us and stuff like that. We went through that. We stood up and fought for something. These people do not fight for anything. You don't fight for anything. You don't have the mindset to fight back. So that's why you come to America, you get on team white supremacy, and then you throw black people under the bus in favor of white people who don't like you in the first place. A lot of the immigrant community, they are the biggest ass kissers. And my grandmother and my family, there has always been a problem with black Americans and immigrants. And we have always been taught like this as children. We always taught like, yo, these people don't like us. You see what I'm saying? That's what my grandmother and everybody said, yo, just deal with your own. You see what I'm saying? Date your own. Like, deal with your own. My grandmother was very big on that. Date your own people. And I understood why. I understand exactly what she meant, because these people have white supremacist mindsets, white supremacist ideologies that's projected onto them from white people that they believe. So if you hear a lot of the anti-black racist talking points from immigrants, they come here with the most negative perception of black Americans. The most negative perception. Anything negative about black people, they embrace, because that's what the white supremacists do. What about Chicago? What about black on black crime and stuff like that? But it's never nothing positive. When anything that has something to do with being positive, productive, something successful that's related to black people, they don't talk about it. But if it's something negative, they embrace it. They always embrace the most negative thing about black people. I got people that's not even from, they don't even live in America, but they're asking me, what about Chicago? And shit like that. These people don't even live in America, but these people, see, imagery is important, because the images that they see is the most negative thing about black people, because that's what they see. They don't even live here. They don't even live here, and they got this negative perception of black people, black Americans in particular. I've heard it all before. Jamaican people. I don't mean this thing about a certain particular group, but their community too. I grew up, even though I'm half Jamaican somewhere down the line, somewhere in my family, I always thought that they always had a bad attitude. I always thought Jamaicans always had a nasty attitude. All the time I had a Jamaican teacher, she just always had a nasty attitude. I always felt like that. And even Africans, like we have our negative perceptions about them. That they just, I always thought foreign people were just mean. I always thought that. Never really cared for them that much. And this is just basically just the truth. I mean, how do people come to this country, talk down on us? Talk down on us when we are a magnificent people. We are the only people who stood up for ourselves and got it popping here for ourselves. We made it work for ourselves. We cannot jump on no boat and go to nobody else's country. We stayed right here and made equal opportunities for ourselves that you come to enjoy. And then you talk to us about Chicago. What about Chicago? Mexico is very violent. And in Jamaica, and a lot of these other countries, these Latin American countries, oh man, they got cartels, all kind of fucking street gangs, and it's very fucking degenerate in a lot of these countries. It's very violent. It's very, very violent, and that's why they're trying to bring their asses over here. So it's just a contradiction to me, to a lot of us, that hear people say, what about Chicago? And what about all these things? But these other groups of people, they had the same criminal syndicate of violence. They have all kind of Hispanic street gangs and crime syndicates. And the same thing with Europeans. They just make black people are the face of anything negative. It's never nothing positive. And that's just why I don't like black conservatives, because they have this white supremacist mindset to regurgitate white supremacist talking points. What about black on black crime? There is no black on black crime. Crime is crime. White people kill each other every day. Hispanic people kill each other every day. You just only want to talk about it when it comes to black people. Whenever there's something negative about black people, black Americans, it's over-focused. Chicago is over-focused. And people say, what about Chicago? They had $51 million to give immigrants, but they had $51 million to give the local people there. And then you asking us, what about Chicago? 53 people were shot in Chicago because they got $53 million for the immigrant community. They don't have it for the people there. That's why it's 51 murders in Chicago. That's why. It's 51 murders in Chicago because the people that's in position of power neglect and ignore the people there. That's bugged out. How do you give people who are not even citizens $51 million? Shut down schools in these neighborhoods, and then you asking people there, what about Chicago? How come it's 51 murders in Chicago? The talking points that a lot of these immigrants use, I mean, you would think that these people would be the most welcoming to us, but they're not. They're not. A lot of these groups, just as a child growing up, I didn't understand. Like, I remember I had a chick who was Dominican. You know, and she was a Dominican of color at that. I remember I was walking her home one day, her father came. Her father or grandfather got out the car and started saying, I don't like black people for my daughter. Black people bad. Black people bad for my daughter. Black people no good. I don't, telling his daughter to come, like, she, told her to get in the car. Black people bad for my daughter. And I looked at this dude. I said, Poppy, you darker than me. I said, but look, I said, Poppy, you blacker than me. You black, look at you. I said, you black too. He said, no, I know. I said, you black too, Poppy, you black. What you mean? Like, you see what I'm saying? And this is just the truth. And then I dated a Nigerian chick. And this, I didn't even know that they had certain words for us. I dated a Nigerian chick, and she told me that her parents didn't like her to be with black Americans. And this blew my mind, because I'm like, you would think that this is something that the white parents would tell their children. You see what I'm saying? Because like I said, it's a self-hating mentality among a lot of the immigrants, man. They come here off code. That's the problem that we have with black immigrants. You guys come here off code. It's a lot of off-code behavior. And then when we check it, we're xenophobic. We're being xenophobic. But the people who aren't sellouts and Sambos and stuff like that, who's supposed to be riders with us, y'all don't call out the Sambos like Myron Gaines. For him to say all that stupid shit about black people, we should be able to punish people who talk like that about us. We should be able to punish them. He shouldn't have a platform. I wouldn't go on that show. I wouldn't want nothing to do with a person like that. The fact we're not, so you say something about the Jewish people, you're gonna come out your pockets. You say something about gay people, you're gonna face a consequence. You say something, he can say anything, people say whatever they want about black people and face no consequences. That's why they dump on black people so much, because they're not gonna face no consequences. So he's gonna say stuff like that. People like Gregory Foreman, these people we should be punishing them. We should be punishing them as a group. Like, nah, you gonna talk like that about us? You gonna talk like that about us? You gonna be punished. And when I say punish, defund them or don't support them. So then they can realize, like, dang, I should never said that. Because they don't apologize. Myron Gaines and these black conservatives, they don't apologize about what they say. He's saying it because there's no consequences to it. That's why they say it. That's why Jesse Lee Peterson, all these black people who are off code, they are not punished. And that's why Dr. John Henry Clark has said that we should be able to be in a position to punish those who are off code. We should be able to punish them. There's no way these immigrants that come over here, we should start checking them. Y'all gonna talk like that about us, or you got a Jamaican business, or we ain't supporting it. You got a smoke shop, we ain't supporting it. We got a little restaurant, that Dominican restaurant. You said this about you said that about us. We're not supporting it. We should be in position to make them face consequences. But that's not going to happen. So, I'm going to land my plane like that. I said what I said. I don't think all black immigrants are tethers. All black immigrants are the same. But they allow people like Myron Gaines to come to America. They allow them to come to America. They want the Myron Gaines to come to America. They allow that. He's groomed up to think like a coon. He's groomed up to think like a coon. They allow coons to come to America. They never allow the black people like the Streets Lamba, what's his name? Not the Streets Lamba. People, they don't allow the black Africans in Africa who are on code. They don't allow them to come to America. Well, I'm not saying they don't allow them, but we get most of the Sambos and the ass kisses. That's what we get. That immigration has never benefited black people in America. Never. We get Candace Owens. That's what we get from immigration. And it's never been a benefit to us. And we the ones who fought and made equal opportunities for people come here to prosper. And that's all I got to say about shit.